Well, as a little kid, I used to mess around with radio-controlled airplanes, and that's how I kind of got my start in the hobby. You know, I actually started off with like control line airplanes, and after that, just messing around with different things, and I guess got bitten by the multicopter bug about 5-6 years ago.
I started flying multirotors about 2 years ago. It was really in the mid-summer, late summer of 2013. I first started building multirotors in 2013. When I first started, David Vindestall was a huge inspiration. With his tricopter, he had a build video online, and it just walked you through each step that you needed to go through. I watched that thing probably, I don't know, maybe 50 times, even if I wasn't building it. I was intrigued by the building. I'm a very hands-on kind of person, so anything that I can take apart or put together, or something that I personally make, I love that kind of stuff. Building or buying it's been kind of a controversial topic, because there's not a lot of people that actually want to sit down and build a quadcopter or a hexacopter.
You know, unfortunately, a lot of people are going for the instant gratification kind of gaming kind of things, and the disciplines that take time, like learning to solder, learning about batteries, learning about voltage, wattages, resistance, learning about our radio frequencies, you know, range, interference, grounding, stuff like that, that helps you actually build stuff or understand how stuff works. That's becoming, you know, not so commonly practiced, because you can just go buy something and charge the batteries and go fly. You don't have to worry about soldering. You don't have to worry about, you know, calibrating gyroscopes or anything like that.
If you're really wanting to start out, I so strongly recommend that you sit down and do your research on how to build one. It's just an ability and a skill to be able to build.
I've always been into photography and videography, and drones at that point had gotten reliable enough to hang a camera on them. When the NASA came out, they became stable enough to you know, do commercial work. It's not that different from a ground shoot like what you guys are doing now, except there are different kinds of parameters, but to me it's really just another kind of tripod. You know, a lot of things like making sure your lens is clean, and you know, that you have memory on your SD cards, your exposure is adjusted. You know, I don't have to worry about audio so much, but you know, just all that regular kind of stuff. I got a pre-flight checklist, you know, check it and just look around, make sure you have a safe place to land, take off, make sure all your prop nuts are tight, make sure your batteries have the voltage in them that you think they have in them, decide how you're going to charge your batteries, you know, during the shoot, find out what the client wants, figure out if that's achievable or you have to scale down his vision to something that's actually possible. You know, figure out how you're going to get what he wants, and you know, communicate that with him. I have all kinds of clients, everything from municipalities. I've worked for the Republican National Committee. I've worked GM, CMS Energy. Just people call, and different people call every day with different ideas. A lot of construction and you know, real estate, things like that, where people want to show off what they're doing from a different perspective. I'm glad I started when I did, because I have a little bit of head start, and now everybody is, you know, all this drone phobia is taking root, and so a lot of places that I used to fly, you can't fly anymore. Like, I used to fly places and, you know, police and everybody would come up to me, hey, what's that? You know, is that a drone? Oh, wow, you know, that's pretty cool. And now it's like, no, drones aren't allowed here, you know. So it's you know, when I started out, people didn't even know what it was, and now they're like, oh no, a drone. So it's, I'm glad I got the little head start, started early. It would probably be a lot harder starting now, because it seems like everybody that got a drone for Christmas is saying that they're an aerial production company. So, you know, it's getting to be a pretty crowded field.
Racing it's an exciting development in the quad or multi-copter business. It's with these 250 size mini quads, maybe a little bigger, maybe a little smaller. It used to be underground. It used to be like an underground kind of thing. Not a lot of people knew about it, but now the media is just skyrocketing. It's not so much the racing yet. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of coverage on racing, but it's mostly just drones in general. The racing, I feel like it's gonna skyrocket, and actually I feel like it's gonna end up being like a NASCAR kind of thing. I mean, people didn't think you were gonna go and race around ovals for 300 laps, but it's happening. So I feel like there's going to be professional quad pilots like there are professional race car drivers. That's what I feel like. I feel like people are going to know who Sharpoo is, or MetallDanny or Boris B. Those kind of guys. They're going to know who they are, especially Sharpoo, because that guy's got some mad skills.
A couple of guys showed up with these little 250 racers, and everybody was just intrigued, and so we've kind of switched over just to putting on races and doing that kind of stuff. Basically, it's just a meetup group. We get together and we give people a chance to race, and we've gotten some sponsorships from some big companies, gotten invited to fly at some events, and so we're just out there having fun, enjoying FPV racing. It's really getting a lot of popularity among people, and people are coming to it from cars and helicopters because it has like a little of all the best worlds, and then it's the direct competition and not so much like judging, like, oh, look at those TikToks, let's give him a 9.4 or something. It's like, I beat you.
Personally, what I feel like is you would want to probably just do a lot of research. I mean, if you want to get into it, you want to know what you're doing. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because most people are going to give you their advice because they don't want something bad to happen to either you or their hobby, because there are a lot of people out there that they're just flying quads into buildings and they're getting a lot of media on that. It's just, you want to know what you're doing. You don't want to just pick up, let's say, a DJI Phantom, because that's what everybody buys. I mean, that's the unfortunate truth. Most people go to either the hobby store or online, just pick up a DJI Phantom and then go out and fly it. Which, I mean, if that's all you want to do is get a camera in the air, then that's not a big deal. I just feel like you really need to educate yourself first before you do it, because there are a lot of people out there that don't, and when somebody doesn't know what they're doing, something bad is going to happen.
Well, in the old days, it was kind of cool in a way, because you had to come out here to the flying field and you'd get advised by people that were out here flying for 10, 20 years. I mean, the RC aircraft hobby's been around for 70, 80 years, if not longer. And so you used to come out here and you put your plane together and people would help you and all that. But now we have the internet age and the age of the DJI Phantom, and so people go and they buy a DJI Phantom, they charge the batteries, and they're just off flying. They don't need any kind of advice or tutelage or anything. So that's kind of a bad thing. I think it's good to get advice, and it's a lot easier to learn lessons by somebody telling you rather than learning hard lessons yourself. So, all that being said, I would recommend getting with some kind of group, so you're doing it in a group environment, like on meetup.com, find your local flying group, or AMA chapter or something, and then you come out and fly and you get advice from people, things like battery management, radio range, stuff like that, so you don't have to do the expensive learn by yourself kind of thing.